If you told me 2 years ago that I'd be surrounded by books, coffee cups, and stories that keep me awake at 2 am, I'd probably laugh. But here I am, a reader, a writer, and yes, somehow an author. There's something funny about beginnings. You never realize you are in one until much later. When the ordinary days suddenly start to look like chapters. Back then, I didn't know that the sound of pages turning would become my favorite kind of silence, or that a messy deck, a half empty notebook, and a little imagination could someday build entire worlds. Sometimes I look around my room, the notebooks, the sticky notes, the pen that have all stopped working, and it hits me. This is where it all began, right here in this quiet little corner of chaos. So, hi, I am Twisha Arya, and this is a story of how words changed my world. It all started just a few years ago, back when stories were simply magic. When words felt like secret doors and I didn't even realize I was walking through them. I used to fill notebooks with words only I understood. Stories about stars that talked, pencils that dreamed, and heroes made of paper. Back then, I didn't care about grammar or big words. I just wrote because it made me happy. I remember sneaking a flashlight under my blanket just to read one more page, and then another, and another. But somewhere between growing up and getting busier, the magic faded. Books became homework. Reading turned into a task. I stopped writing too because who was even going to read it? Until one random afternoon, I picked up a book I'd left half finished just to kill time, and somehow that book brought me back to life. I don't even remember the title, but I remember the feeling. It made me laugh and ache all at once. And that's when I realized books don't just tell stories, they find you when you need them the most. Of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing. Sometimes I'd read the same page 10 times and still not understand a single word. Other times I'd write something that felt brilliant until I read it the next day and realized it sounded like a grocery list. Writer's block became my best enemy. Every time I thought I was past it, boom! Another mental wall. But here's the thing. Every bad draft taught me something. You can't become a writer without first writing terribly. It's the rule. Every page, even the messy ones, was part of becoming me. Then one day I stopped trying to sound like other authors. I stopped worrying about perfect grammar or fancy words. And I just wrote the way I felt. I wrote about the rain tapping on my window, about moments that hurt, the people I made up to make sense of the world, and about that one thought that wouldn't leave my head. Somewhere in those messy lines and crossed out words, I found something real, my voice. Not too loud, not too quiet, just honest. It didn't come from a rule book or a checklist, it came from me. The me that writes with snacks on the desks and too many tabs open. And once I found that voice, I never wanted to lose it again. Being a reader changed everything. It turned me into an explorer of worlds I'd never see and emotions I'd never feel otherwise. Books became my passport to Hogwarts, to Paris, to galaxies far away. I started underlining sentences that made me feel seen. I laughed at fictional jokes only readers would understand. And yes, I broke down over people who lived only in ink and imagination. And whenever someone said, but they're not real, it's just fiction, I'd smile, that small, sad kind of smile, because they will never understand. They will never know what it feels like to lose someone who never existed, or how a line of dialogue can hit harder than a real conversation. They will never know how a story can comfort you when no one else does, or how you can feel seen by a character who's never breathe a single breath. Because for readers like us, fiction isn't fake, it's home. It's where our hearts learn to feel without fear of breaking. Every book became a friend, a teacher, a mirror. They didn't just tell stories, they shaped mine. Then came the moment that changed everything. The day I realized I didn't just want to read stories, I wanted to create them. I remember sitting at my desk staring at a blank page and it stared right back at me. The cursor blinked like it was daring me to begin. So I did. I wrote and wrote and wrote. There were days when the words refused to come, when I'd sit for hours typing nothing but sighs. And there were nights when my mind wouldn't stop, when ideas kept pouring out faster than my fingers could move. Sometimes I'd look at what I wrote and think, wow, this is actually good. And the next day I'd read the same thing and think, never mind, this is garbage. But I kept going anyway because every sentence, good or bad, was a step closer to the story I wanted to tell. It wasn't about perfection anymore, it was about truth. And slowly those scattered words began to take shape. Into worlds, into characters, into something real. Until one day I had a book. My book. When I held the first printed pages in my hands, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. So I did both. It was surreal. This thing I built out of sleepless nights and silent mornings was now alive. My first book, Silver Flames of Erindor, became my little universe. A world of magic, courage, and hope. And now, beneath the eternal roots, my second book is about to step into the world too. Soon, it won't just live in my notebooks or on my laptop, it will live in someone else's hand. And maybe in their hearts too. It's funny how a single idea, a whisper in your mind, can turn into something that touches people you have never met. Because it wasn't just paper and ink, it was a piece of me. My thoughts, my dreams, my fears turned into something I could share. That's when I realized I didn't just become an author, I was one all along. I just needed to believe it. When I started writing, I thought stories were just about imagination, about building worlds and characters that felt alive. But somewhere along the way, I realized something bigger. Stories are bridges, they connect people, even complete strangers, through nothing but ink and emotion. Every time someone reads my world, they step into my world, even if just for a page. And that thought still gives me chills. Being an author isn't about fame or fancy covers, it's about connection. It's about that message I once got from a reader saying, your story made me feel less alone. And in that moment, I realized that's the real magic. Because words can do what nothing else can. They can travel through time, cross oceans, and touch hearts you will never meet in person. A single line can comfort someone crying at 2 a.m. A paragraph can remind a stranger that hope still exists. A story can make someone feel again. And that's the kind of magic I want to create. Every sentence I write feels like a spell, one that carries a piece of my heart inside it. When I write about pain, it heals me. When I write about joy, it multiplies. And when I write about love, not the romantic kind but the human kind, it reminds me why I fell in love with words in the first place. Sometimes I think how my stories might outlive me. How long after I'm gone, someone might stumble upon my words and feel same, anything. Maybe they'll smile or cry or dream, and in that moment, even if just for a heartbeat, we'll be connected, writer and reader, across time itself. That's the magic of words. They never truly die. They live quietly in the spaces between hearts. And I guess that's all I have ever wanted, to write something that stays. Sometimes when I sit at my desk surrounded by notebooks, sticky notes and half-finished ideas, I still can't believe it. That the same girl who used to skip reading novels now has readers of her own. It's funny how life circles back like that, isn't it? How the things we once avoided became the things we can't live without. I remember those nights when I'd stare at the ceiling wondering if my words were good enough, if anyone would ever read them, if I was meant to do this. And now here I am seeing my name on the cover of a book. It still feels unreal. Every time I flip through those printed pages, I can see my journey hidden between the lines. The late nights, the laughter, the quiet doubts, the tiny victories. Each chapter I wrote changed me a little, made me stronger, softer, braver. And now, looking back, I realize this wasn't just about becoming an author, it was about becoming myself. Because writing didn't just give me stories, it gave me a voice, a way to understand the world, and a way to be understood. And maybe that's why I love words so much, because they hold memories frozen in time. So one day, when I forget how far I've come, I can read my own story and remember. Sometimes I still mess up, of course, I still get stuck and still doubt myself, but that's okay because now I know that the journey never really ends. It just turns into another story waiting to be written. So I sit under my fairy lights, flip open my book, and whisper to myself, "Thank you, words, for finding me."
Hey, if you're watching this and love writing or even thinking about writing, start. Don't wait for the perfect idea or perfect time. Just begin. Because stories don't live on pages, they live inside you, waiting to be told.
I used to think stories ended when the last page turned, but now I know that's where new ones begin. I am Twisha Arya, a reader, a writer, an author, and this is just the beginning.